All right, so it's another episode, a different episode of the Pay Me No Mind show. This is your host Wood, back with my special guest Jasmine Dokes. We just did get somebody to join. Feel free to jump in. We just thought we'd do something different this week and give this Blab app a shot and just talk about Empire, the second episode, and maybe get into a little TGIT. That's more Jasmine's area side of the house. So couple of quick before we get into some of the different into the show. I just saw that Grace, is it Gilly and Trey Byers, that they actually confirmed their engagement earlier this week.
Yeah.
So that happened. And then also kind of leading into one of the talking points. Are you familiar with North Carolina rapper Petey Pablo?
A little bit, yeah.
He was out. He only had like one hit, but I believe Timberland did produce that, so maybe that's the connection. But he was actually in this episode this week.
Yeah, he was in the last week too. I don't think a lot of people noticed.
Oh,
he was just kind of there.
Right.
But I read that I guess when Terrence lost his wallet or whatever,
right.
He lent him $200. He never paid him back, and so he paid him like $15,000.
Right.
So I need to find Terrence and lend him some money.
Right.
Get that $15,000 out.
And then get the cameo on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So y'all was just gonna announce that Petey Pablo was kind of brought back from the dead, and like you said, he gave Terrence Howard $200 after Terrence lost his wallet somewhere, or his wallet was actually snatched, and he didn't have any cash or ID, and Petey Pablo gave him $200, and so this year Terrence Howard was able to get him this reoccurring role, and which it resulted in a $15,000 paycheck for being on the show. Another interesting thing is he actually wrote the song that Terrence Howard performed this week, and about 3 others, but he just doesn't know if all of those will be included in the show.
Oh, okay.
So that was just some current events. I did a little bit of digging, but we can get into it.
Okay.
Get my little notes out. So what'd you think about this week? Without a Country was the name of this episode.
I think it was better than the first episode for me. I think it's building slow, and I like that. So I think it's going to be a good season. We'll see.
Yeah, I thought that. Let me ask you. We didn't get into it on the first show, but and you didn't even mention it, but did the gorilla suit in the opening of the first of the premiere episode, season premiere, did the gorilla suit, what'd that do for you?
I mean, I get the point. I think the message was that a lot of men in prison are just viewed as animals, and really just kind of a paycheck when you're looking into the private prison systems. So, I mean, I get it. I guess, I don't know if it was that necessary, but I know that they kind of like pushing the limits and the buttons and getting people to talk and things like that. So I guess, what the message was, but I know a lot of people didn't like it, and so, I mean, I think that's kind of the point. They want people talking and things like that. So
I didn't really connect any symbolism to it, black men and animals or prisoners and animals. I just thought it was like something over the top that Cookie would do. And I think they just flirt around with trying to find a way for her to be included in any of the performances.
See, I think the reason I said that is because she said, how long are they going to treat us like animals?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and in that sense, it kind of made me think, okay, that's why she's got this gorilla suit on or whatever. But yeah, it was a little over the top. But I think, again, they want people talking or whatever. So
I just saw one critic that had that made a comment about the gorilla suit and just said that they were going to quickly move past that and just kind of disregard it. Like I said, I didn't really make any connections between some of the. I could see how people could go there, but I thought it was just kind of Cookie just looking for a way to be out in front and just being spontaneous and all of that type of stuff. So I don't know. Anyways.
And that definitely was not Taraji in that Cookie suit and that gorilla suit. Not her.
Right. Right. So look, we met some new characters this week. Ludacris came in as Officer McKnight, kind of like a head guard. And then Andre Royo from The Wire and a couple other shows, but mainly I know him as Bubbles. He came in to the cast, or he's joined the cast as Thirsty Rollins. He's hustled his way into becoming Lucius's lawyer. He's highly connected, very ambitious, and kind of strongly reminds me of some of Lucius's tactics. And he obviously caught Lucius's attention very quickly. What do you think about both of them coming into the mix?
I really don't know how necessary Ludacris was. I don't know. I thought he was gonna rap or something, but I don't know. I think they just kind of threw. Again, I think sometimes they're just throwing in bigger stars in these kind of really insignificant roles just to have the stars power or whatever. So I don't know what he really brought. The lawyer, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because I really want to know what his agenda or goal is.
Besides money?
Yeah. I think it's like maybe a bigger story. Maybe it has something to do with Roxanne, the lawyer, the prosecutor or whatever, or something. I don't know. And then also it's not so believable because Lucius Lyon is like a huge... Like he's like a Jay-Z or a Diddy. So there's no way that somebody with this much power, whose company just went public, doesn't have the top and the best lawyers already. There's no way he's not getting his meds and all this stuff, and his lawyer isn't on top of him, and he hasn't gotten a bail hearing. That's not really realistic. I guess it goes into the soap opera story, but it's not really realistic that this powerful man hasn't gotten bail and that he's just in general population with, you know what I mean? Like, not really, not a billionaire whose company just went public. That's not happening. I don't know.
Like legally, I don't even know if that's possible, for you to, because he's been in jail like 3 months now, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So now as a person who's aware or not, is conscious of facts like that, does it bother you sometimes that certain details, because I got another one I'll get to in a minute, which was my hang up with this episode, but does that bother you as a viewer that they kind of skirt so many different things just to make the show?
A little bit, not so much. Because I know that it's a soap opera. Okay. So if I watch Young and the Restless, there's a lot of things that's just not believable. Right. It's a soap opera. But I think that is a lot of people's issue, especially when I was having a conversation with someone, they were comparing Power to Empire. It was like, it's these little details that just aren't realistic or believable that makes the difference for them. And so I get it. For me, it's like, well, it's a soap opera. So of course, it's the drama effect or whatever. But I do wish some of the details were a little bit more believable. I think it would make it just more authentic and a little bit more raw too. So
I said the same thing. I asked that because I was watching one of my favorite shows is Chicago PD, and it actually comes on at 10 o'clock on Wednesday nights. And here I am praising it, for being a little more realistic in some ways. I know Voight is off the chain with the police brutality and whatnot, and violating people's civil rights and whatnot. But I credit it as not having the soap opera feel to it. But then I turned around, I got to a part in the show where they needed to move the story along, and they went to the obvious choice to make it happen. And then the episode ended up with the lone female on the team, taking out like two men, and with a knife. One of them had a gun, and it was kind of just as unbelievable, but just in along a different set of circumstances. So, but I'll get to my other issue in a minute. Yeah, Ludacris. Once again, I don't really like the casting of him of being Officer McKnight. I mean, he's not physically imposing. I mean, somebody maybe like Terry Crews may have been better, but I know he's locked into another show right now. But somebody with that's a little more, physically imposing, I think would have done it. I mean, maybe it was a good selection as far as Ludacris being outside of his normal characters that he portrays. So that may have been a good thing. Royo, I will get into my issue with that real quick. I felt like the scene in the courtroom was kind of cheap. For him to come in and just have some pictures of the of the judge in some compromising positions, I guess with the prostitute or stripper or something, or a young girlfriend or something. I just felt like that was the most obvious out. That was the most obvious thing to get them out of that situation. And for me, I used to be big into law and briefly thought about, and I used to like courtroom dramas. But it's like once you give the stack of evidence to the judge for him to review and he sees the pictures, well, what was the evidence that you gave to the prosecutor?
Probably some fluff. It was probably fluff. That's why she was like, "What are you talking about? This is outrageous."
But that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't have been able to get out of the courtroom without all of that being hammered out.
Right. Yeah.
But that's again, like you said, it's a soap opera.
Yeah.
So, so what else about this episode? I mean, we had a lot of stuff go on with Andre, your guy. He seemed to he didn't have a whole lot of lines, but I like what they did with his story as far as trying to get him back in the fold, showing how much he was, to show his allegiance to Empire. His wife tried to go to bat for him to get him back in good standing with Jamal. And then obviously he was supposed to be the brains behind Lion Dynasty Records or whatever this new company is. And he tried to commit to it, but by the time we get to the end of the show, he just doesn't see enough order there. And I just think he doesn't want to, he's already built the company from the ground up, and he just struggles to find a reason to stay in this battle. What do you think about his storyline this week?
I think it's really interesting, and I can't wait to go further into it. I really do think he is going to end up telling Lucius about Vernon, because with him, his thing is not really the music, whereas Lucius and Jamal, everybody else is really about the music. From him, it was really of that allegiance with his father and building that he was smart at business, so he built this business. He built Empire, and Cookie knows she needs him. She knows she can't do Dynasty without Andre, but it's like Lucius still can't accept that he needs Andre. Even Jamal knows. I mean, they're not going to be able to really run Empire without Andre. So I think eventually he is going to probably tell him about Vernon. And I think it's just that they all have that need and love for their father. They want that acceptance. They want that love from him. And he's really been the one that's been most loyal to him. He's been by his side. He's covered his ass like for murders or whatever. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I guess they introduced Kelly Rowland as Lucius's mother, and she had a mental illness. So I think that has a lot to do with why Lucius is the way he is, especially towards Andre. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's gonna play out, and if they will kind of connect and kind of build a relationship. So.
Well, I'm glad you filled me in on that, because I didn't know who the hell Kelly Rowland was supposed to be representing, but that's who she is Lucius's mother.
Yeah, and she suffered from mental illness. So I think once they kind of tell that story, we'll see why Lucius is the way towards Andre.
Okay. So, like you said, Andre has typically been Lucius's protector, and as you also mentioned, while everybody else is chasing these dreams of fame and stardom, and just really worried about being creative, he's been the one that's managing the books and making sure the funds are right so that all of that stuff can happen. So, were you shocked? I mean, I know it's in true Lucius fashion to decline bringing him back into the mix. But did that throw you off? Did you think for once Lucius was going to do the right thing, or you already knew what was up?
I mean, I did kind of think he would take him back because I mean, he's been running the company, he's been building the company and he knows so much, but it's like he's just so prideful. And I think, again, we'll get into maybe something more with his mother and see really why he is like so hateful towards Andre. But yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna come to a point where he's gonna have to take in Andre and realize, like, hey, I need you. Like, you know what I mean? So hopefully, I mean, something bad is going to happen. I saw in the previews they're getting rated. That'll probably, if they had Andre, he probably wouldn't get rated. So I don't know. Hopefully he'll see.
So, what do you think his problem is right now with Andre? What do you think's at the bottom of that?
I think again his mother. I mean, I think it's gonna have to do something boil down to whatever happened, maybe with his mother, because we know that he was, I guess, orphaned at 9. So if his father was killed, we don't really know what happened to his mother, but she had a mental illness. So I think it's gonna really have something to do with his mother and that mental illness, and now his son has it. So um, I think it has something to do with that. We'll see. I
Now,
think it's more than just him marrying a white woman or whatever. I think it really has something to do with his illness and his mother.
now I'm about to look really stupid. As I was watching it, I thought that the little boy was Dre with Kelly
Oh yeah.
Rowland, but that was actually Lucius with his mom.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people. I saw a lot of people thought that.
Okay, so maybe he just looks at okay, so now I can see that how he would have something against Andre because now he's maybe not trustworthy as he's demonstrated he has been, but because he was kind of possibly betrayed by his mother, he's holding on to some
I
of
think
that.
there's something there. Yeah.
Okay. See, we discovering things here because I wouldn't have known that without you. Okay. Um, yeah, I really thought he was gonna let Andre back because it seems like taking Andre back would have really weakened Cookie,
Definitely.
and that's one of the goal or objectives of Lucius. So I thought he would have kind of jumped at the chance, and then also the company would have been in better hands because we already see signs of Jamal being careless with money and throwing money around, and in the meantime, not really putting new material out, to
Right.
bring money in, and he's not touring or doing shows. So
Exactly.
I just thought that would have been a good look to bring Andre back, and then it kind of showed the side of the family, or the theme of the family with Andre and his wife now being with child, and she went to go and try to smooth things over with Jamal. And I thought that was one of the warmer scenes that we've had on the show, where Jamal takes some interest in the baby that's on the way and
Yeah.
kind of wanting to do the right thing. So,
Yeah.
um, what about Mr. Hakeem this week? He's
He's
all over the place.
yeah. Well, what I found interesting, what I didn't really catch at first, is how they kind of introduce probably the spinoff for Star because of that
That's what I
girl
was
group.
thinking.
So I'm guessing that his girl group is going to turn into the spinoff. So that's kind of interesting. I think he's still just really a child in a way. And so he's got all these ideas and I want to, control. And I want to show I can do more than just rap and I'm more than just the baby or whatever. Um, but I don't know. I think he should just, I don't know, listening to Andre and Cookie and Anika. But we'll see what happens with that. So he's probably my least favorite character, to be honest. So, but we'll see what happens.
I was thinking next week we might have to start a top five of some sort, whether it's our top five hated or top five liked, or we have to give it some type of theme and have like a barometer or something of where everybody is from week to week. I don't know. I don't know why he's just not satisfied with just trying to be a good rapper and trying to have his career. I mean, I don't know why he's really so focused on having any power. And like you said, he's kind of a loose cannon. You know, he got his record, he leaked it online for free. He just doesn't seem to know the inner workings of a label whatsoever. And seems like, he's kind of driven by a lot of the stuff that we see, or a lot of the activity that we see in some of the reality shows that are out there. I thought the girl group, I was thinking the same thing, that could be the tie-in for Star. But my concern was that was supposed to be based in Atlanta. And I wouldn't think that by the end of this season that Hakeem shoots off for and tries to set up shop in Atlanta. I don't think that will really work.
That's true.
But maybe it's somebody that hasn't been introduced yet that is in Atlanta, and maybe he has some kind of side deal with the finder's fee or whatnot. But what do you think about which leads me to my question. Him and Anika aren't an item, because now he has this other young female. What's going on there?
So I don't think they're ever really an item per se. I think she slept with him to get back with Lucius, and then maybe they've done it more than once, but I don't think they're like, oh, we're together as a couple or something like that.
But he did.
I don't know.
He did say earlier that she's living in my house.
He said she was at house. Yeah, that's what I was confused. Like, she was at my house. So, I don't know. I can't really tell what the deal is with that. Like, are they trying to be together or what? So, and I'm not really sure. I don't know why Anika. I mean, I guess Anika wants to stay with them to get revenge with Lucius, but I don't know why she's really trying to, I don't know, team up with them per se. And doing Cookie wants to start her own label, so why is Anika really trying to be there? But I do hope that Cookie will realize that she needs Anika and they'll join together and work out.
That's another kind of warm moment I see developing, is that there could be that sisterhood that you mentioned, talking and referencing or referring to the Emmys. I just feel like you said, that maybe at some point Cookie may understand that she's not the only one that can steer a project, the way that it needs to go down. That Anika, besides, and I didn't understand. I mean, did Anika do anything really that demonstrated or showed that she was whorish or anything? I mean,
well, I think the fact that she slept with Hakeem.
I'm talking about before Cookie came on the scene. It's like she's branded or labeled her as a whore or a hoe.
No, I think really what it was in the beginning was that Cookie just wasn't bothered by her. She just felt like this was just Lucius's little plaything. And, at first she wanted to get back with Lucius. So this woman was kind of standing in the way of her getting with Lucius and having her family. So I don't think we never really thought of her as this hoe or anything in the beginning, because she was just with Lucius, and she, she didn't seem like a really bad person at the very beginning, but she was just kind of this woman in the way and she had to go. And then later we found out that she was really conniving and not, this goody two-shoe as she wanted to make people think. So.
Well, I thought she was just kind of defending her position in the mix. But I mean, what I was saying was, I felt like before the rift came and the rivalry started with her and Cookie, I felt like she had just worked her way up through the ranks and had been successful at managing artists and making decisions along the lines of, the record business. And there was really no, being a hoe wasn't really a character flaw of hers.
Yeah, I really do agree with that. I think at first she really was probably this smart woman who was really good and strong and loved this man. And Cookie just kind of came along, and that was still a threat because this was the mother of his children. This was his wife. And so sometimes when you feel threatened, you start doing things that you're not, used to doing. Like she said, he changed her. Like she started doing things, drugging the one lady, she drugged her drink, and just different things that she didn't really plan on doing. And so I think that's just love. Sometimes she didn't want to lose. She had been with this man. He cheated on her, obviously, before Cookie even came, and she stood by him. And now you're not going to take that away from me. You're not going to take, this relationship and everything that I've built and worked hard for. She's worked hard for Empire too.
Right.
So I think that's kind of how she started doing these bad things, but I don't think she started off as a bad woman. And I think ultimately she's not a bad woman. They're just kind of been put in bad positions. So I think they'll make a good team together.
Her and Cookie.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, Cookie was really harsh, I think, towards her, and I think she has to kind of come to a point and realize that they're sort of in the same boat where they've both been hurt by this man and, thought that they could build an empire together, and really he's kind of turned on both of them. So why not join together and take them down? So.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like she was successful and talented at what her role was. So in Lion Dynasty Records trying to get off the ground, and like I said, I don't think Cookie's approach that she's used on everybody, that's not going to work with everybody. And I think it may be some good balance that we have Anika over here with a totally different approach to how she steers artists to get things done. Because everybody, I see a lot of people, especially a lot of the women, I see them clashing with Cookie and a lot of the over the top antics and shenanigans that she gets into. So I'm like you. I think at some point there'll be some kind of team Anika Cookie.
Yeah, because Cookie is street, Anika is business,
right.
And there's some things that Cookie is just not going to be able to do that she's going to need Anika for, especially if Andre goes back to Empire. She's definitely going to need Anika. Just like in that one episode when she had those clients, they were from like, I don't know, Scotland or somewhere. Right. She knew the language. She could talk to them.
Right.
Cookie couldn't do that. So she needs Anika, I think, to really be successful with the Lions Dynasty.
Anika's a good soldier too. Everything that she's asked, that Cookie has asked her to do, she's at least tried. So, yeah. she, people like to have people around that they can control. What'd you think about the new Hakeem's current woman, I guess, then? I forget her name at the moment, but the Latina.
Becky G. Valentina, I think it's her character name.
Right.
Did they go into them being together in this episode?
Yeah. They were in the tub together.
Oh, I think I missed that.
Yeah, you must.
Oh,
yeah, it's full blown.
Okay, well, I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I think again, I was thinking it was kind of gonna go into the spinoff, but I think Lions Dynasty can get good. I think they are gonna get some good artists and maybe make some leeway with their record label or whatever. So we'll see what happens with that. But ultimately, I really don't want it to be two different labels. Like I want them to somehow come together and just do it together. So, but we'll see.
One character whose stock is rising for me, maybe that's how we'll look at it as stock. But and keeping in line with the publicly traded company and everything. But the brother that runs Ghetto Ass Records, yeah. I'm liking him, because he doesn't mind going toe to toe with Cookie.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a lot of time on screen, but I just like I think there's something there that they can pull out of his character as we move forward and as his studios are needed, more so for Lions Dynasty to get off of the ground. Before we move on from Hakeem, what do you think about how he handled him kind of waffling between Dynasty and going back to Empire, being brotherly with Jamal and then exploding on Jamal? And like you said, he's just kind of a wild card. But, he doesn't do anything subtly, but he's kind of set the table for a couple of different things. What do you think about him? I don't even know what you would, just being a wild card, basically.
Yeah. Well, I think that was maybe the most thing I did respect about him of saying, you know what, I'm not coming back to Empire, because that would have been the easy thing to just go back to daddy. Here's the money. Here's everything. You already have the status. You can release the album or whatever. But he realized that whereas with Jamal and Andre, even though they've been hurt by their father and rejected, they still are longing, please accept me, please accept me. With him, he's like, forget him. I'm going to do it on my own. I know I'm talented. I don't need daddy to save me. And so I did have kind of respect for him saying, you know what, I'm going to go with Cookie on this. We're going to make it happen. And so I had respect. I kind of gained some respect on that end. Now, not him really releasing his, album, for free or whatever. That's not a smart business move. But I like that he kind of just stood up and said, you know what? No, I'm not gonna back down and just go back with him. And I know he's not a good man. So I kind of like that.
You think he's still down with his father, or is it just a lot of animosity there and he's just kind of ready to really be his own man? I mean, he doesn't. Whereas Dre and Jamal seem, well, Jamal is definitely his right hand man, but they seem like they want to maintain that relationship. But Hakeem is kind of like looking at him like the scumbag that he is in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I kind of have the respect. And what's interesting is that Hakeem's appeared to be his favorite son,
Right.
And that it only took him seeing one time of him hurting him or one time of him hurting his brothers that he said, I'm done. That he even teamed up with his mother, who obviously started out the show of him hating her and not forgiving her, to say, well, I'm going to go with her and we're going to do this. And, I got respect for that, because he did realize that this dude is a scumbag, and why would I work with him? Why, I'm going to be my own man. I can make myself. And I think he really wanted to get from under the shadows of Lucius. He didn't want to just be Lucius's lion son or whatever. He wanted to show the world that he has his own thing going on or whatever, that he can do it on his own.
So we can get ready to close this out with some thoughts on Lucius. What do you think about him? I wasn't sure if he was ever going to do music on the show, but he actually released a single from jail. And honestly, the song was kind of took me back to Hustle and Flow with Whoop That Trick. Now it was what, Sneak Bitch or something, Snitch Bitch or something. That part, I know we talked about the music of the show in an earlier episode or one of our earlier recaps. It's just that's really highly unbelievable, because anybody rapping over 45, I mean, there's only like one dude that's able to do that right now, at the moment.
Yeah, definitely reminded me of Hustle and Flow. It was a funny scene to me, but I don't know, it was just kind of comical. I don't know, man. It's the music, that Pete, like Lucius, like Terrence Howard is just not a believable music star for me. So again, I just take that to that's it's a soap opera. It's not a big deal. But we'll see what happens. I'm interested. I think there's gonna be something really big or bad to happen where he's gonna really need Cookie, and so I think somehow they'll kind of come back together. Um, but I guess this song is supposed to be a big hit, and whatever. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I struggle with the song, and I didn't think that. If they did, I didn't really think they would let him. If he was going to do a song on the show, I didn't think they would let him do an entire song. So that the fact that they made it like 2 full verses, or whatever, a complete song,
Yeah.
I thought they would have gave it to us in small doses. But
Yeah, no. I thought it was funny the producer guy or whatever, the guy who had the little beat machine. I don't know what he was doing. He was
the
just
little
like
keyboard.
yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, but it was so funny. So I think I don't know. I think it's maybe they do this on purpose just to kind of have a little comedy in it without it supposed to be comedy. I don't know because it's really funny. So
But
I don't know, man. I don't know.
to, ha- to have Big Boy back in the back beating on the drum.
The trash cans.
Yeah,
So yeah. But I think that was the whole point of Thirsty, the lawyer. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you this equipment, and I'm gonna get it on the radio for you, or
right.
whatever. Like, you're gonna be number one while you're in prison. So, but I think what it showed is like Cookie. Like, I think it showed a lot of when Cookie heard the song. It showed that love there. Like, she's so like just love, like, there he go, he's always making that, like, it's supposed to be like this is a really hot song and he just can do the unbelievable or whatever, but it's kind of unbelievable to me. Like, it's not like he sucks. I don't know if he's supposed to be a rapper, a singer. I'm not really sure
And
what he is, but
right. And that's another thing. I was shocked that he would come back as a rap, with a rap song versus I thought he was doing like some sing rap or something with a little more with a little bit more instrumentation to it.
I would have believed him more if he pulled out his guitar, like in The Best Man or something. I don't know.
Right.
So
Yeah. Now,
but V Bozeman was great.
Who's that?
V Bozeman. I really like her.
Oh yeah. I'm interested in seeing more of her. I was kind of shocked they didn't bring back Gather's daughter yet, but I
think that's gonna be next episode.
Yeah. Now, it escapes me at the moment, but did he get out by the end of this one or not? I mean, the judge.
Well, yeah. So when at the judge piece, it's basically they set the bail. Obviously, they're gonna pay it. So, but they didn't like show him out of prison yet.
Okay.
They'll show him out, I guess, next episode.
Okay. Like I said, I saw that the ratings took a little bit of the first dip that the show has experienced. But it still was pretty strong. It's still probably the best performing show out there ratings wise. I saw on Rotten Tomatoes that this episode had a 95% approval by the critics, 76% by the audience. So I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a good change of pace from the first week.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, it definitely took a big hit. I think again it was better than last week, but I think some people were disappointed. I saw a lot of people say they weren't gonna be watching. And for me, even if I say like I don't know about something, I will always give it kind of a second chance to see what's gonna happen. So hopefully the numbers will grow again next week. But I think a lot of people were turned off, I think, by some of the comments and some of the things that happened last week. So we'll see. I mean, it's still doing better than most shows, all the shows. So
I can't remember what the one jab they took. I don't know if it was at another rapper, another show, or a singer.
I know last week was Donnie McClurkin,
Yeah, not
and
that
then
50
it,
Cent.
50 Cent. Then this week they talked about J Lo, and
Right.
like who
Took a
else?
little
Jay
jab at her.
Z.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll
So
see.
yeah, I'll be back for next week. I mean, it did slow it down a little bit. It left it left a few teasers out there to see how they unfold. Of course, Lucius is probably coming home. Um I, I'm pretty interested to see what Cookie's next move is, especially with Lucius being out. Does she stick with Dynasty, like you said? I mean, I see the need for the whole soap opera feel. I see the need for two different shows. That's an easy, to pit the two against each other.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't a lot of Marissa Tomei this week or Mimi. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
pretty much everything that we have for Empire this week. Now, I told you I didn't get a chance to see Scandal or How to Get Away with Murder. I was halfway through that before we started this blab. So, what's your thoughts with either one of those?
Well, I'll do How to Get Away with Murder. It's good. I think it's gonna get good. In the first episode, of course, at the end we see. I mean, it's just so many shockers. So we see that Annalise has obviously been shot, and all the students are running away. So I really want to know who shot her.
Okay.
And then the lawyer also is shot and dead. So I want to know who shot her too. So
That's the dark haired lady.
No. So she kind of had like red hair, sort of. She was the one in the preliminary hearing with Nate and who was going
her friend.
No, the lady, the prosecutor lady.
So okay.
She's dead. So I want to know what happened. I really want to know what the whole story with Bonnie and her is. I really want to know like what happened. Something crazy had to have happened. And then I think also I want to know the whole what it feels like there's more to the story with her and Wes. Like I don't know if that's her son. I don't know. It's something.
Is that Gibbons?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I think there's something there because they just have this weird relationship. Like that
Right.
she knows. It's got to be some kind of relation there. Maybe he does. I don't think he knows what it is. So I want to know what happened with that, and then I want to know what's going to happen with Nate because he saw Annalise and his lawyer kissing. So even though he's out of prison, he still, I mean, he lost his job. I mean, he got beat up. I mean, he's probably looked at poorly in the community. His wife is sick. Like that's a lot of stuff to go through, and he's probably thinking like these women probably set me up and probably killed Sam so they could be together. So I wonder what's gonna happen with that. I kind of want them to hook back up though because I think they're kind of hot together. So I don't know what's gonna happen. And then I don't know how necessary it was for her to have this like lesbian lover, but I guess we'll see what happens with that. I don't know, but I think it's gonna get good.
Now, who was the lover?
Her name is like Jenna. I forget her real name, but it was this woman, and she was a lawyer too. So she brought her in to be Nate's lawyer, or whatever. So
so the woman from X-Men.
Yeah, that's what she was. I can't think of her name though, but yeah, she was
Famke
an
Jensen.
X-Men. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I told you, I got about halfway through it, and where I left off before we started tonight was Annalise had just went to the hotel room to try to get her to stay on as Nate's attorney.
Oh,
and
okay, gotcha.
I was trying to get to the lesbian scene so that I could see who it was, but I figured out that when she popped up earlier in the episode, I thought that might be who it was, but they didn't really do a lot of flirting to kind of let the cat out of the bag in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Until they like kissed or whatever.
So, well, we can finish up. I told you I did have a question. I thought we might get a few more people to join us, maybe even get in one of the open seats and you know, kind of add to the conversation. But I sent you the direct message earlier that at some point with any of these actors and actresses, as they move into some of the, you know, the same sex relationships, you know, and we could even look at it along the lines of gender with, I mean, we're not going to ask a heterosexual man like Lucius or Terrence Howard or Trey Byers, Hakeem. None of them are going to be asked to kiss a male. You know, they went and got Jesse is Jamal's name. His real name is Jesse, right?
Jesse, yeah.
Jesse. But, you know, I believe that he's pretty much, I think it's known that he is homosexual. But here it is with the women. You know, we have Viola Davis, who's engaged in this lesbian or, you know, sex act on screen. And even though, I mean, and I took it beyond that with Cookie, some of the antics that she's in, like at some point, do any of these actors and actresses say, you know what, I'm really not in with pushing anybody's agenda just for the sake of making a show? And since right now the gay and lesbian thing is really popular, you know, here's your role for the day. Do you think that anybody objects to any of that, or are they just going to look at it as I'm just doing my job?
You know, I would think that, I mean, these actors, especially when you're looking at like Viola Davis or Angela Bassett, Taraji, they've been in the business for a long time, and you would think that, I think that they do have their limits of whether they say yes or no. And I think when I see a lot of these lesbian characters, I think it's just really they're kind of, the shows are jumping on the bandwagon. This is what's popular. This is what's popping. We got to have it in the TV show. And I think if it adds some kind of value or something to the show, then do it. But I don't know, because I was surprised to hear that Angela Bassett is, and then even Viola, um, just because I don't know how, like, if they had it for Taraji, it made sense because she was in prison for 17 years. So
Right.
it makes sense that she maybe had a girlfriend. But
Right.
then when you have like Angela Bassett or Viola Davis, it's like, well, I don't know. So I feel like maybe they feel like, I don't know, that they have to, or there's not really limits to what they won't do. I mean, it's work and they're going there. They want to get the awards. They got to feed their family. So, maybe they're doing it. Like I saw an interview where Viola was like, I told my mom to like go to the casino, not to watch the episode or whatever. So she didn't want her mom freaking out, or whatever, because she kind of gets down and dirty with the lady, in this second episode. So I don't know. I was kind of shocked, and I don't think it's like, oh well, they're too good to do it,
Right.
but it's like at some point, I don't know. I don't know. I guess long as it's not too trashy. And what I did like about, I guess, Viola Davis's scenes, and not just the lesbian, but even with Nate or whatever, I think it's really interesting because she hasn't been like portrayed as what Hollywood deems as sexy or sexual. Like it's just not written into her roles. Like she's the mom or the teacher or,
Right.
the help or whatever. She's not this woman who is sexualized and desired and everything. So to kind of see, her being thrown up against the wall or driving this other woman crazy. And it's not like the male fantasy of these two young hot women like getting down and dirty. It's like two middle-aged, normal, average women who are still sexual, who are still powerful. And so I do like that it wasn't like just this stereotypical, like, oh, two little young girls touching on each other, whatever. But it was just kind of like these women love women too. And so they can just kind of, I don't know, be intimate and still be sexy no matter what Hollywood shows us and says is sexy. So that was kind of the only thing I liked about it, is that they weren't like supposedly, it wasn't like a Halle Berry or Beyonce type. It was like just these two mature women
Right.
who, I guess, were lovers at some point or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. But I
And
hope that some actors and actresses will kind of have that integrity of like the story, and that it makes sense for the story and not just because it's a popular thing to do or whatever.
I'm just asking because I know Shonda Rhimes and Lee Daniels. It seems like it just seems like it's enough different. It's several different messages that we see uh, continuously, and then it starts feeling like, as a viewer, like an agenda is being pushed against me. And like you said, I would fully understand if we had seen a slip up by, or not a slip up, but I mean, if it was revealed that Cookie had a girlfriend or had some, she had resorted to that while she was locked up, because I think she did 17 years, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, along the storylines, I would have fully understood that. But now
Yeah.
here we go with Annalise, and it just seems like,
And I like Shonda Rhimes' work. I think personally, I think Shonda and Lee Daniels don't like black women that much, but that's another story. But I feel like a lot of times they throw in these gay things, but it's all so stereotypical. It plays right into the stereotypes of what people think gay, that they are either promiscuous, or if you're bisexual, you don't know what the heck you want, you're confused. Like every character that they have eventually at some point plays into the characters. That's why I kind of like Jamal at first, because I thought, oh, he's not the stereotypical gay guy. But then now you see he's really is. I mean, he's still a hoe. He's mean. Like he's I don't know. It's like they all write, even though they're trying to be like, oh, we're including everybody, but you're really writing and playing right into these stereotypes of these people. Like even with Annalise, it's like, okay, she's always been a side chick. She's never, and then apparently when she had somebody, it was a woman, but she still played her to go be with a man. Like, doesn't make, like, I don't know. I don't think, like, their writing is good, but I feel like there's, like, some kind of hidden message that's some kind
right.
of agenda. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but if these characters had like value and a real story and weren't just playing into the stereotypes of what people who are against homosexuality believe it to be, then I would be like, okay, this is cool. But really, it's like they just, I don't know, they're all like jumping from one person to another. It's like, I don't know, it's not really any value to the story of the homosexual character. Like,
Yeah, I think they cheapen a lot of. I mean, they're just kind of equal opportunity exploiters. You know what I'm saying?
I exactly
You know,
that's how I feel.
whatever your thing is, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mock it and make it a caricature of what it really is, or
Exactly.
So I get it. I just I was kind of shocked last week, and I know my mother-in-law. She was like, "I'm done." After the Annalise scene, she was like, "I'm done." And
Yeah, yeah. A lot
so,
of people say I'm not what, like they couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it either. Like what? Like oh my god.
right, but I
So
agree with you. I think the story has a little. I mean, How to Get Away with Murder. It seems like it has a little bit of a different feel this year, and I really like Nate's character. He's got a nice husky voice, and he's a newer face.
yeah.
I'm kind of interested to see what his character does. You get it before we get out of here. Did you get a chance to check out Rosewood this week?
I didn't watch the full episode. I I like it. I don't really like it just yet. It's kind of, it reminds me of that show with the guy, and he had the yellow car and he was like a police officer, Nash
My
Bridges, or I don't know what it's
Yeah,
called.
Nash
Maybe,
Bridges.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's like, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna keep recording it because I like Morris Chestnut and I want them to get ratings. So I don't know. I don't really like it just yet, but I'll probably really have to sit down and watch it. I don't know. It's kind of corny so far, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really
And it may just not be my thing. I'm more of a drama kind of
right.
person, so it's probably just not my style. But if it doesn't last, maybe Morris can go to Empire. No.
Yeah, that's what's bugging me a little bit is he's not really a police. Well, he's not a police officer, but he's constantly, doing police and detective work.
Right.
The wisecracks and like the hint of some some interest there between the two, although she really hasn't shown him any interest yet. But
and then he's got this girl now. He's got Nicole Ari Parker on there playing his love interest. So it's kind of confusing because I thought he was going to try to get with the police officer lady.
Right.
I wasn't sure what was happening.
I'm gonna give it another week. I only caught the second half of this week. And let me ask you this before we do get out of here. Do you think sometimes like you're obligated to try to support these people that you like, and even though you might not watch the show if there's nothing on, maybe you just leave the TV on that channel, but you somewhere else in the house doing what you need to do?
I think I feel like that sometimes, especially when you have like even Black artists sometimes, because it's like, oh, well, I got to check it out. Even if I see the previews, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But then I feel like, oh, I got to support Megan Good, or I got to support Regina or whoever, because, they need our support. So, but sometimes, and I think this season we will see, or even in the spring, we'll see a lot of shows that are going to come with Black cast, and they may not really be good shows, but we'll see what happens with it. So I don't know. But now that there's more people, I won't feel as obligated to support because it's a lot of y'all working. So it's cool.
Yeah, some of them going to have to fend for themselves because I can't support everybody.
Right.
But I do go back and try to check them out. I will try to watch. I will try to check out a show on DVR because I know they track that as well.
Yeah. So
maybe if I'm lagging with getting on the bandwagon fully with the new show, I'll try to check them out on DVR. And I'm mad because my new DVR won't let you. It won't let you fast forward through anything, so I got to watch it, as is. Oh. But yeah, I try to give everything a look. I still haven't checked out Blind Spot, and I'm getting into that area where I get 3 or 4 shows behind, and I just might be out.
Yeah.
But look, we coming up a little bit on that hour, so I thought we got into a lot of a good breakdown on the second episode of Empire Without a Country. For anybody that joined us, we appreciate it. The seat was open in case you had some questions or comments. We thank you for checking us out. Please check out the podcast, the Pay Me No Mind show for One Take Podcast Nation. I do sports and entertainment. I just thought we'd come on here and try something different. But I will go back and put this up as a podcast afterwards. And Jay Dokes, I just appreciate your time again.
Thanks.
I appreciate your courage for getting in front of the camera.
Not my thing at all.
Okay.
So cool.
But we'll check out. We'll see what happens next week with the Lions family. I'm gonna try to get caught up to speed or caught up to the Thursday night shows so that I can.
Good.
We can bounce some ideas off of one another. Any final words for you?
Nope. I'm looking forward to the season. I think it's gonna be good. I think Empire is gonna be good. So I'm ready for Jamal and Cookie to get back together.
That was kind of hard to see them two get off of the same page. Hey, you checking out a couple of good movies coming out this weekend? You checking out either The Martian or Sicario?
I think I'm about to go see Sicario now, so we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check Sicario out. It's a lot of football on the weekend, so it's kind of tough for me to mix in a movie. But I think Sicario is. I'm kind of grown tired of some of the superhero flicks, And then I'm not a big fan of all the PG-13 stuff. So I think Sicario is a perfect opportunity for me to get back in the movie theater with something that's serious, gritty, R-rated, and just kind of more realistic. You know, you can't have a world ending and somebody is walking around talking about, gosh darn it. You know what I'm saying? I like some real struggle and some real frustration, you know, and some real tension being vented. So yeah, I think I'm gonna check Sicario out, and maybe next week I had to check out my man Matt Damon.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, well, thanks for everybody that tuned in. As far as the Pay Me No Mind show, I appreciate everybody that presses click or presses play. And until next time, peace.
Bye. Thanks.